Hey guys, we're back with the next episode here of Sryth, and so I have no idea what we were doing last time. I think we did the merc stuff, so we finally got all the powers, except for shadow magic. So I think that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna work on getting shadow magic so we can finally have all the powers, and then we can work on getting troll bont. I don't know about lances. We're really worried about lances, not really. But let's see about getting my experience bonus for today. Yes, an experience bonus. Alright. Let's go to the blue door for that. And a quick stone daily experience bonus. Hey, I will take it. Yeah, so we joined the Gray Circle. I remember that now. And so we've joined the Gray Circle so we could do the Proving Grounds 5, which is the Silver Crest. So that's what we're working on this morning. Legends from bygone era, the three brave adventurers who constitute the fabled band known as the Silver Crest now maintain a litany of aches, pains, and complaints nearly as long as the list of illustrious deeds. Perhaps you can help restore the crest to its former glory. Not that they need any help, mind you. I mean, they are good as they ever were. Better, in fact, just so we're straight on that. So here, this is how this goes. It tells you the parts, and then some of them you can do out of order, but a lot of them you have to do in order. So there's part 1, part 2. It doesn't tell you all the scenarios in the part until you finish sometimes, so that's how that's going. A surprisingly fierce running with an evil spirit has left the 3 long-standing members of the Crest battered and in bad spirits. Looks as if you're on your own from here on out. A corner. And then you can attempt the scenario more than 1 times if you fail. But, not that I plan on failing. Let me open my drink. I'm going to lower this as well, because I'm sort of leaning forward a little bit. Excuse me. You should have seen it, Allison, said Priyan. You should have seen it, Allison, said Priyan. Okay, that's smart in his voice. As he carefully adjusted the sling, holding his left arm in position. It was a horrid sight. Long flowing black robes and glowing red eyes. It couldn't have been among the living. In claws as long as any dragon's talon, as Rindul, hobbling over to the side of the fire with the assistance of a stout oak cane. I've rarely seen anything fight with such fury. Yes, and I shan't soon forget those glowing green eyes, quips Idriska, reaching out to feel a bloody bandage covering his forehead. Priyan flashes an annoyed glance at Idriska. What did I say? Green? It was red, of course, he said. Yes, red glowing eyes. You'll have to excuse me, Allison, but the matter has taken quite a bit out of me. So there you have it, said Rindul. Whatever it takes, it puts us all in a bad way, I'm afraid. It'll likely be a few weeks before we're back at it again. Well, it is a good thing we have you, Allison. A very good thing indeed. Okay. Good thing you have me. Rindul tells you that the Silver Crest has been commissioned to investigate a cave just outside the village of Easton, a half-day's journey north of the city. You learn that several villagers have reported seeing a large creature with a long barbed tail skulking about the countryside over the past several weeks, and recently a handful of livestock have gone missing from a nearby farm. A troll would be my guess, said Rindul, but Priyan shakes his head. It will be the first troll I've ever seen with a tail. He scoffs. You take my word for it, Allison. It's a cornuck up from Easton, and let there be no mistake about it. A cornuck? Said Rindul incredulously. Oh, do go on, dear Priyan. There has been no cornucks in these parts for 2 decades. Idriska doesn't say anything, but he nods in agreement with Rindul. An interesting but obviously incorrect assessment, frowns Priyan. It's a cornuck that prowls up in Easton, and unless it puts down the beast, will devour the village right quick. Instead of fussing about what else it might be, which it's not, you should at least tell Alice in the thick of dealing with him. You learn that Cornuk's favorite tactics is to suddenly leap in top of its prey and stun it with a stroke of its heavy barbed tail. All you need to remember is to remain perfectly still once it spots you, said Randall. It will forget about you if you stay still, leaving you a chance to attack it on your own terms. That's not the strategy I would advise, said Driscoll. The moment it spotted you, it's already too late. Your only recourse is a swift and devastating attack. Put the beast on its heels. You've at least a fighting chance. How you handle a corner that spotted you is to turn your back, said Priyan. Once it no longer sees your eyes, it will usually ignore you. Wait it out for a few moments and turn. Slowly turn back. It will have all but forgotten you. A loud argument ensues, but suddenly abates when Priyan leaps to his feet to retrieve a pot of pale on the fire that's been bubbling over. What it may up in Easton, said Rindal. I'm certain that our gal. Oh, be what it may. Okay, I was like, what? Be what it may up in Easton, said Rindal. I'm certain that our gal Allison is up to the task. We should remember that she's more than a few adventurers under her belt. Rindal tells you to consult the head of the village, a man named Toolbrid, and to make sure you obtain from him the 250 gold upon the successful completion of the mission. We're counting on you, said Rindal as he hobbles up and slaps you on the shoulder. I know our trust is, as always, well placed. Green shows you the map that tells you how to get to Easton. The journey is likely to take half a day, and there are two basic routes that you can travel. A shorter, more direct route through a section of forest known as Maidenwood, and a longer but perhaps safer route over the Crown Hills. Let's go shorter. You bid farewell to your fellow members of the Silver Crest, set off for once and trek to Easton by way of Maidenswood. You've been following the main road leading north through the forest for over an hour when you're startled by a series of blood-curdling screams from the west. You hear screams, you gotta go see. You leave the road and press west in the forest in search of the source of desperate screams. Only too soon do you realize you made a horrible mistake. In all directions, the trees begin to move, and you suddenly find yourself surrounded by 6 towering dormer. The wicked tree begins closing in on you, the foremost of them issuing yet another scream that absorbs you into his clutches. Kill them. They don't call me over here. The foremost of the dormer lurches forward and swipes you with his powerful limbs. You manage to dodge the first series of blows and counter an attack of your own. Yeah, death to the heathens. You're gonna have to fight all of them at once. You leap by the remains of the slain Dormuck and find yourself facing a pair. 3 Dormucks step forward to replace their fallen kin. The savagery begins to grumble as they close in around you. The 6 Dormuck are no more, but there's little time to catch your breath. A metallic clanking in the south spins your head in the direction and witness approach with a horrifying foe. Nearly twice the size of Dormuck you've already defeated. The miscellany of a piece of metal armor tangled in upper branches is a towering ancient Dormuck that strides toward you. The fearsome beast shrieks as it bears down on you. Let's fight. Let's fight. Plate gauntlets. With a reverberating thud, the ancient Dormuck's obscene bulk slams into the forest floor. The pieces of metal armor tangled in its upper branches clatter loudly upon impact, and several of them tear free of the former perches. You search through the armor and find that nearly all of its damaged and useless. However, one piece lying near the very top of the slain Dormuck proves to be a remarkable find. After taking a few moments to catch your breath and check over your equipment, you return to the forest where once again is set off to trek to Easton. The remainder of the journey of Easton proves uneventful. Upon your arrival, you met with the head of the village council, a portly raven-haired man by the name of Tollbridge. Tollbridge seems disappointed the entire Silver Crest has not made the trip, but when you explain the circumstance that made it so, his mood seems to brighten. He tells you that the local huntsmen have tracked the creature, whatever it is, to a cave in the hills north of the village. He says that he, and indeed the entire village, are eager for you to investigate and put into the terror that has gripped Easton for almost 3 weeks. Of course, should you wish to rest and investigate the cave in the morning, that would be understandable, since it's, after all, a long trek from Sryth. Sure, let's rest. Tilbert puts you up in the East Elm Small Inn for the night and sees that you have a hot meal and a mug of pale before turning in. The rest is wonders for your body and your spirit. In the first light dawn, you leave the inn to seek out Tolbert and ask him to take you to the cave. There it is, said Tolbert, pointing to a dark mouth of the cave. Mind you, that we have not seen the creature in a couple of days, but it was last seen sleeping in that shadowy lair. I pray the All-Father goes with you into that place, friend. A loud guttural roar suddenly sails from the cave, causing your heart to skip a beat. All the colour drains out of Tolbert's face, and he stammers something inaudible before turning and moving swiftly back in the direction of the village. Hey, my friend. My friend. You stand just inside the mouth of the cave. The overpowering odor of rotting flesh assails your senses, causing you to nearly retch. Here's another stinky place, you guys. Alright. Yeah, let's go this way first. I hear breathing. You loom into view of the darkness ahead, causing you to freeze in mid-step. A hideous black-haired creature sleep over the bloody carcass. A large bear turns its head and locks its eyes upon you. The massive beast snarls viciously, revealing a mouthful of sharp fangs. The tip of the barbed tail flicks back and forth almost a foot above its head as it turns to fully square itself with you. You little doubt that you are staring at Kernok, the very creature that Priyan surmises you would find in Easton. You quickly recall the various pieces of advice given to you by the fellow members of the Silver Crest regarding the dangerous beast. I'm gonna leap forward and attack. Oh no. Oh well, quick combat. The Canuck shudders and then collapses to the cave floor. Its limbs twitch for several seconds and then go limp. The fearsome beast is no more. A quick search of the area reveals a pile of animal skins upon the creature apparently slept. Amidst the makeshift bed, you discover a soft leather pouch containing a fair amount of gold and 2 adventurer tokens. Yay! When you have brought the mission to a successful conclusion, confident that you haven't overlooked anything, you promptly make your way out of the cave and back to the village. Tolbert is excited that you've arrived bearing news of Kernok's demise. You quickly retrieve a cloth bag and hands it to you. There, you're worth every bit of that, he says. We're a simple folk, Allison. While hunting these creatures might mean nothing new to you, it's nothing short of pure terror for the rest of us. At Talbert's insistence, you find a moment in the village before starting out the long trek back to the city. Give my kindest regards to your fellow brave companions. He says, your partner. If they're anything like you, the 4 of you must strike fear in the heart of every monster from here to Sundren. Farewell, my friend. Oh, what's Sundren? The Sundren Sea is a vast, expansive ocean to the northern Sryth. It is from over this ocean the swift 2 races of Mandiel, Alvari and the Voranthan first arrived. Ancient legend says that Alvari hero Seer, whom many believe to be the one true avatar of Shrithik, hey, there's an answer to that question, slew a mighty sea serpent named Vorgorok while leading the Alvari to the shores of Sryth. Legends also tells that the sons and daughters of Vorgorok prowl the Sundrens to this day, seeking out the ships of Alvari and vowing revenge on the sons of Seer. Priyan smugs merely spreads off the edge of his face. You sit before the fire in the headquarters of Silver Crest, relaying your comrades the details of the victory of the Kernok. Rinduel frowns at Priyan, leaning back in his chair, and his hand clasped behind his head, his face still painted with a wild smile. Perhaps next time you'll remember that even I might know a thing or two about something, he says wryly. When you attempt to present Rinduel with the gold that was paid to you by Tulbury, he politely refuses it. She does the work, she'll have the reward, he says, smiling. You spend the next small while relaxing for the roaring fire, nodding off now and again as Priyan prattles on about with more stories about Kernok than you've ever thought existed. Rinduel eventually gets up and leaves the room, mumbling something to himself, while the Driscoll turns his back on Priyan and sets about sharpening the blade of his short sword. Well, if we've all had enough about Kernok, then I suppose I can speak in another matter, said Priyan. How about monster fighting tactics? Another subject I haven't known something about, oddly enough. Funny. Alright, 84, huh? What? I'm up to 85? Who's beating me? Well, let's keep going. The Hall of the Hobbled. That's hilarious. stumped. A stump still? Wendell rolls his eyes and casts a sideward glance at Priyan. I don't honestly believe there are still any stump stills left about. In any event, let's allow Allison to head up to the cutter's camp and investigate it for herself. Priyan grins at Wendell and nods. Yes, and when she finds that stump still that wrought all the mayhem up there, Priyan, I would like her to know that, having had quite enough of being talked about as if you're not in the room, you clearly your throat loudly. Both Wendell and Priyan, the only two fellow members present, apologize and fill you in on the details of what they have been discussing. Wendell tells you that an old friend of his, a blustering fellow named Groven, has hired the services of Silver Crest to investigate and rectify a serious problem that surfaced at a wood-cutting camp west of the city. Groven's a good lad, said Wendell, and timbering is his trade. Therefore, anything that interrupts his livelihood receives his prompt and undivided attention. He had an axeman go missing, and he's had 2 others nearly have their arms torn off. It's all happening at dusk over the last 2 days. That's when the stump still is most active, interrupts Priyan. Wendell flashes him an annoyed glance, and he apologizes and turns to face the fire. A stump still perhaps, continues Wendell, though a more likely suspect would be a startling word with forest troll. The attack happens at dusk, and neither of the 2 men who nearly lost their arms ever get a clear look at their assailant. Whatever it is, I would think it best if we start the camp at once. Groven is expecting me, but he should have no trouble with you appearing in my stead. Wendell gives you directions to the camp. You set out at once, planning to arrive just prior to dusk. You find the woodcutter's camp west of Sryth with little difficulty and arrive just before dusk. Despite what Wendell said, Groven Longarm is visibly disappointed when he realizes that you've come in place of his longtime friend. What? The old knight? Too good for the likes of a woodcutter? He laughs, though you sense more of a hint of distaste in the sound. No offense to you, Allison, but your feats are well known to me, and it is indeed an honor to meet you. Well then, I assume you know of our quandary. Follow me, and I'll show you where lies the trouble. Groven leads you to the edge of the wide swath of forest north of the camp that's been recently cut back. A broad field of stumps and felled trees extend a great distance to the north and the west. I had men out of that stump patch before dusk today, he said, looking over the results for nearly 2 weeks of our toll. Whatever it is, it's fairly certain it's lurking in there. It's already got 1 man, at least we haven't found him, and it's only got 2 others. Wendell thought it might be a troll, but something about all that seems well different. You show Groven that you will fully investigate the patch and then report your findings to him. He thanks you, and he turns to head back to the camp. You take your first cautious steps into the stump field. It's a square-ish, like a dice, like on the 4 side. You stand just inside the edge of the field of stump and felled trees. Massive trunks of the fallen hardwoods and the piles of hewn limbs create a twisting maze that is somewhat treacherous to navigate in the fading light of day. Alright. I always say go left first, but I've gone right, so we're going. Sudden movement up ahead freezes you in your tracks. You're watching towards a large stump begins to move. The stump draws itself into the center of the path and stretches wide. A powerful set of fang-filled jaws and unleashes a ferocious bellow. You stare wide-eyed at the face of the stump, still now blocking your way. Without warning, the creature ambles forward and attacks, attempting to tear the flesh from your bones and its deadly flames. We should always listen to Priyan, obviously. And heal back 8. We'll take it. Right. It's the same. Yep, it's the 4 die. Okay, we're just gonna fight all the stump stills I see. Deafening bellow from below nearly caused you to jump out of your skin, spinning in your fire. You find yourself staring at a massive stump still. The dangerous creature lurches forward with its thick tangle of roots, its gaping maw revealing a double set of deadly flames. Suddenly, the stump still charges, setting you back on your heels as the powerful jaws attempt to lock onto you. Why do trees have jaws? Let's talk about that. You step from the battered carcass of the massive stump still, allow yourself a few moments to catch your breath. Suddenly, you become aware of movement all around you in the stump patch. You count the sinister silhouettes of at least 3 dozen stump stills. Fortunately, however, none of the creatures seem to pay you any mind. You watch with growing interest as the army of forest beings slowly move to the deeper woods north of the camp. Puzzled by this, he lets us surmise that you defeated the massive stump, so I sent vicious beasts to look for easier prey elsewhere. Confident that Groban, Longarm, and his woodcutters have nothing more to fear from those creatures, you make your way out of the stump patch at the back of the camp. Fine showing, Allison, said Groban. Will you relate to him your victory over the Summersills and the best of the patch? It's amazing. And any of us is alive, he said, wide-eyed, as you told him just how many of the vicious creatures you witnessed in the Summersill. I bet old Rendell will be sick with envy when you tell him about this. That sort of thing was just his fancy, you know. Groban paid you with fee that he and Rendell agreed upon. You're eager to set out for Trithik, but the woodcutter insists you stay for a stew supper and some strong spirits. Old Rendell told me that you could pull down the best with the best of them, Allison, and I'd hate to think he wasn't being truthful about that. Sure. After what turns out to be the most delicious stew, the woodcutters bring forth several bottles of very strong spirits. Groban takes one of the bottles and holds it in front of you as you sit next to the roaring fire. In fact, Allison, he said, Rendell told me that you're going to put me in my place with a drink. I've got a little wager. You outlast me and I'll double the fee. You don't, and I'll have it. And that's sort of friendly fun, you know. Apparently Groban is brimming with confidence. Okay. Your stepping of Groban Child causes quite a stir in the camp. Every man gathers around to see the renowned venture take up a drink. The men whose tolerance for the spirit is believed no equal. Groban takes a bottle of strong spirit, and thrusts it at you. Guess drink first. Go on, Allison. Don't make a lady out of you yet. Groban Longham and the rest of the woodcutters watch with great interest. You bring the bottle of strong spirits to your lips. The pungent aroma escaping from the vessel is enough to make you want to retch. But you tip. Everything makes me want to retch. The bottle up and take your first swallow. Shaking off the effects of the drought and thrusts the bottle back at Groban, who eagerly takes hold of it. He tilts his head back and takes a double swirl from the vessel. He wipes his mouth on his sleeve and hands you the bottle. Go on then. He rolls it naturally. Have it again, my friend. No. Third swallow. Okay. Fourth swallow. You shake off the effects of the drought and dust the bottle back at Groban, who eagerly takes hold of it. He tilts his head back and takes a double swallow. Suddenly Groban looks up as he was about to retch. The blustering woodcutter throws back down the bottle and rises steadily to his feet before being held back to a sitting position next to the fire. Good show, Allison. He croaks as if a tiptoe reclaims breath. I'll have to take Rendell on his word from now on. You're a champion with beast and the spirit. Groban tosses you about containing 50 extra gold tokens and tells you that he appreciates if you keep his defeat a secret for the other members of the Silver Crest. I mean, after all, he says as you prepare to depart, they've got their tails of monster, hunting heroics, and I've got an iron gut for the spirit. We've all got something that's our own. You promise to get your victory secret and bid him farewell. We're setting out on the road back to the city. Thought he was gonna win, didn't he? Rendell and Priyan are both pleased to see you return safe and sound. The Driscoll is nowhere to be seen. They sit you down on the fireless and intently relate the details of your conquest of the Subsills and the woodcutters' camp. Well, it was only a hunch. Really? Smith's Priyan. It could just have easily been a few dozen trolls hiding amongst all those stones. I mean, really, it could have. At least Groban didn't try to get you in a sort of drinking sport. He's always good at that sort of trouble. And ignores his comrade's remarks and conclusion upon it, showing, you know, Allison, he said, rising and receiving a long-handled pipe for the mantle. If it weren't for you, oh, I don't, never mind. Just never mind. We'll do one more. And then in this episode, Lost Bracelet. The young woman who breezes out of the front door of the headquarters of Silver Crest pauses to acknowledge you with a friendly nod as you prepare to enter the familiar establishment. She then departs quickly before becoming lost from sight along the bustling street. Upon stepping inside the headquarters, you're greeted by Rendell, who tells you that the Crest's latest paying customer has just left, having hired them with the golden advance to retrieve a lost bracelet. Charming young gal, really, said Rendell, in a good deal of distress over a missing bracelet. It must be a rather large value if she'd paid 200 gold in advance to commission our efforts to retrieve it. You note somewhat curiously that Priyan and the Driscoll are nowhere to be seen. Well, continues Rendell, it's somewhat plain tale that she told, but let me tell it to you before I hand you the reins of the operation. Why can't you do it? Rendell tells you the young woman, who did not give her name, was travelling from Port Halleck to Trithik on coach when she lost the bracelet. The coach was ambushed by trolls just above Northgate. Scarf, he says. Miraculously, the 6 people on board managed to escape from the beast, but In a brief melee, she said, one of the trolls ranked her arm in its claws and tore free a bracelet that was very dear to her. She said the creatures then made off with it. For what reason, she couldn't guess. Now, it does seem to be a lot of trouble to make over a bracelet, but we certainly can't afford to start questioning the motives of our patrons. Rendell explains that he believes the troll responsible for the raid of the wagon is still in the area somewhere, and one of them likely still has a bracelet. Unless they found a goblin fence to pass it through, I'd imagine the beast who got his claws on it kept it, he says. Suddenly Rendell pauses, his eyes grow wide as if suddenly arriving at a profound revelation. I hadn't considered it before, Alison, he said in an almost apologetic tone, but you've probably never had much experience dealing with trolls, have you? Yeah? No matter then. You learn soon enough, I'm sure. Well, sooner than you can start up that way, the better. Here, let me show you the map. Hold. The area we're speaking of. After studying the map, Rendell relates you the description of the bracelet as told to him by the young woman. He tells you that it's a silver bracelet with 3 small rubies set in it. I can't imagine there's more than one troll up that way taunting something like that. He laughs. A few hours later, you're on an old forest road that winds its way through the thick of the forest north of Triptych. As you pass a little area of wood known as Northscarp, you realize that you're near the spot where the young woman says that a coach was attacked. Suddenly you spot a lone man quite a ways up ahead. On foot and moving south along the road, the man takes notice of you and greets you with a friendly wave. It is precisely the moment you spot the trolls. Crouched on the underground growth on the west side of the road are 3 forest trolls. Savage creatures appear to be lying in ambush, rearing an attack the lone man the moment he passes by. You hurriedly shout a warning to the men, but it's too late. The instant the words you leave your lips, the 3 trolls break cover down the road, preparing to strike the helpless prey. A killing blow. Yes, on archery. 2 of the 3 trolls stagger, stumble, and then pitch forward, striking the ground for face first and snapping off the injured feathered shaft now buried deep in their chest. You remain. Troll turns to face you, snarls viciously, and then bounds off into the forest. The man, a young, stocky man with a rather unkempt beard, praises you to no interfering and saving him from the troll. He introduces you as Pertswin. Trolls here? I can never imagine such a thing, he says, still shocked over the unsettling encounter. And then you, my friend. I say luck is standing with me today. You tell the man the trolls are partly the reason you're making the journey up here, and when you mention the missing bracelets highlighted, but it reaches his pocket of his vest. There, said Pertswin, producing a shiny silver bracelet. He hands you the piece of you, and your eyes promptly fall upon the 3 rubies that adorn it, exactly as Rendell described it. You thank him for the bracelet and place it safely among your other belongings, and you ask him how he came to possess it. He tells you they found it on the other side of the road several miles back. I thought it was just a stroke of good fortune. Indeed, it's more in one way it has been, and now it looks that good fortune has come to you too. Seas and raised bellows soar from the forest west of the road and send a chill the length of your spine. Pertswin's face turned ashen and begins to tremble. 50 yards north, a party of a dozen forest trolls burst out of the woods and begin hopping along the edge of the road in your direction. Before you can say anything, Pertswin turns and takes flight, dashing wildly to the south, using every ounce of his available strength in a desperate effort to outdistance the savage creatures. Well, start with archery. You manage to launch 2 well-placed shots and slay a pair of the bounding trolls. The rest of the trolls immediately leap over the remains of their slain kin as they draw up within melee range. The first 4 trolls leap at you in their deadly claws, poised to tear you open. Or they're dead. 5 of the 6 remaining trolls arrive and launch themselves in a frenzied attack. Dead. A lone remaining troll, standing a head taller than his slain kin, stride up and snarls viciously as he hoists a heavy spiked club high in the air and preparing to strike you down. He bellows with rage as it attempts to bring its spiky club down on my head. Or you're dead. You step back from the bloody carcass of the dead troll, and spend the next few moments catching your breath. You're about to turn and head off along the road and attempt to meet up with Pertswin when something on the body of the slain troll catches your eye. Dangling from its waist is a thin piece of frayed rope. It is a rotting leather pouch. You snatch the pouch off the rope and empty its contents into your hand, and you're surprised to discover it contains 3 adventure tokens. You discard the ruined pouch and hurry along the road to the south, hoping you could catch up with Pressman. However, after heading south for nearly half an hour, you become convinced that Pressman must no longer be traveling along the road. Wherever he ended up, you pray he finds his way safely. Late afternoon, you arrive back in Sryth. Rendell is overjoyed to learn of the success of your mission, and he commends you on once again surpassing even his highest expectation. You're a credit to the Crest, he announces with no small degree of pride as he initiates the sword, of course. I shall see to it that our mystery lady receives her prized possession. I believe she's stopping back in tomorrow morning. Rendell gives you the 200 gold that was paid to him in advance, and again congratulates you for your job well done. You haven't by chance seen Priyan and Driscoll about, have you? He inquires. I haven't seen them since early this morning. Strange, but not yet worth any extra concern. Come on. There's a fresh spot of pale one. Well done, Allison. Oh, exactly about 30 minutes. So perfect. So next time we'll continue on with these two, and then we'll get on to part 2, which will eventually get us shadow magic, which is what we're after here. Thanks so much for joining me. You know what I'm gonna say. Peace.